Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Pulse Diaries. I am your host, Monique Chege Ulesonko. Today, we are honored and blessed to have the one and only Pwani Oil Commercial Director, Mr. Rajul Malde. Karibu sana to Pulse Diaries.
Thank you very much.
Where did you grow up? Who are you? How did you get to where you are right now?
I was born here, in Mombasa, in an area called Ganjoni in Mombasa town.
Right here?
Right here.
Okay.
And then schooled at Mombasa Primary School in Kisingo. And then went on to do my secondary with Oshawa.
Wow,
and then went on to do my degree at the City University in London. And then did a master's, well, not a master's, but a diploma in oil technology. And then came back and joined the family business in January of 1996.
In other words, you're saying you were in Coast, you're a Coastarian.
Kabisa?
Like wewe ni wa hapa.
Kabisa?
Na unaongea Kiswahili poa.
Ndio, mimi ni mwenyeji.
Even the mtawan, you're able to.
Kabisa? Ndio.
That's interesting because the perception that many people have, especially, of course, from a point of judgment, your face, this guy who ni muhindi, amekuja tu the other day. So it's really interesting to know that.
So there's a funny story to that, and the funny story is like this. So when we go out to do some trade visits, and we go and talk to retailers and kiosk owners in various markets.
Uko ndani.
Ndani, mashinani. There is a mama that I met in Mathare in Nairobi, in a little kiosk that she was running. And alikuwa mama mzee. And when I went there to present our products, we were selling whitewash tabs and sour soap and fresh fry and salit and fry mate and so on. And I did all the presentation, and she looked at me as if she didn't understand much. And then I said, "What can I sell to you?" So mama looked at me and said, "Mimi sina pesa."
Okay.
So nikamwambia, "Okay mama, nilikuwa na sabuni hii ya medicated ya Detrex. Kununua kwako ni shilingi 17 tu. Ukichukua pisi 3 ni shilingi 51. Shilingi 1 nitakukatia. Nipe shilingi 50 uchukue hii 3 uweke display." I started there. Pole nimemuzia Detrex, nimemuzia whitewash, nimemuzia sour, nimemuzia fresh fry, nimemuzia salad, nimemuzia fry mate. Nikitoka pale, nimetoka na 6,600.
Oh, that
na
one
nimetukanwa kwa kuitwa we karaoke, usije karibu na mimi tena hapa.
Because wewe
so mimi ni mwenyeji. So I talked to her nicely, and we did the sale. So I understand the local language. I speak in Swahili very fluently, and I connect with the local shopkeeper, the local consumer, and Kenyans in general. And that's our philosophy. That's the business philosophy.
That's interesting.
So when I came, the business was a very small one. These offices didn't exist, and
but it had taken off.
Yes, it had started. It was in the palm oil business with a very small capacity, only 2 or 3 brands of cooking oils and cooking fats.
Do you encounter any form of that kind of mentality? Do you encounter it?
To be honest, no. Even if it may be there, it hasn't come to my face or to my attention. So when I was schooling in a local government school.
Mombasa Primary, in local kabisa.
Yeah. So I schooled with my colleagues who were locals and a few other Indians in the same classroom. And then to add to that, the cosmopolitan nature of London, and then the multilingual kind of class that I attended with people from the Far East, people from South America, North America, etc.
Was it your first time to be in another country?
Yes, it was in terms of the university experience outside of Kenya. And the reason why I went there was actually to see how people live outside of Kenya, what goes on in the world, and just to get an overall understanding of how the world ticks. At the end of the day, I wasn't decided at the time whether I'm going to come back and join the family business,
okay.
or I was going to go and do something
So
else.
it was not the move back was not premeditated.
No, it
prior
wasn't.
to.
No, it wasn't.
How were you as a teenager? Ulikuwa mtundu ama you were focused? Were you always like that?
When I was in school, primary was very simple and straightforward. There wasn't much much of an opportunity to be myself. And we had a very Kali Kiswahili teacher who was the deputy headmistress of the school, who had a 2 feet long ruler. She called Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
So if you misbehaved, you knew that it was going to hit your knuckles. So you were scared. So primary was calm. Secondary was pretty interesting. When I joined Form 1 in Oshawa, there's this competition that goes on every year annually, which is the inter-school debate. So I got chosen to represent the school in the debating competition. So that was the opportunity. That was the window for me to become naughty. So at every opportunity, I would tell the class teacher of a subject that I didn't like. For example, I hated from the bottom of my heart physics.
Oh.
So every time there was physics, I would find the reason for debating, speeches, writing, or whatever, and get out of class.
Okay.
I was a little bit of a handyman or a craftsman. So I worked the school PA system. And fixed it for announcements and stuff like that. So nearer to sports days, prize giving days and stuff like that, the teachers would call on me to set it up for the parades to happen and for the rehearsals to happen and so on. So those were the other reasons I would get to get out of class and go and do those things outside of class, but within the school compound. And then in other opportunities, it was swimming competitions, other essay writing competitions, etc. So there were plenty of opportunities, and because I was this guy who enjoyed the outdoor activities, the extracurricular activities of the school, I wasn't very much of a student, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
In sports, I did badminton, I did volleyball, I did cricket, I did football. I played hockey. I represented Kenya in the under-18s at the All Africa Games.
And you were popular.
Yes, in
popular
badminton.
with everybody.
So I was quite a sportsman. And then outside of that debate, I did best speaker 3 years in a row.
Oh, wow.
In that inter-school debate here in Mombasa. I did first overall in Science Congress National.
Wow.
I did first overall in commercial fruits judging at the SK show.
Science Congress was in which subject?
Science Congress was the project that I did was a chemistry project.
Oh, of course not physics.
Not physics at all. So I did a first overall in a chemistry project where I actually invented the water purification system when I was in Form 3, I think at the time. Debating was a hobby. I loved making speeches and saying them out.
Did you lose it? I'm a Toastmaster. Therefore, I'm interested in speakers. Right. Did you lose that?
No, I still have it. Completely have it.
But you haven't joined the Toastmasters Club. We should start one for your company, Pwani Oil Toastmasters.
That would be an idea.
That would be nice, eh?
Yes.
I was the first president of the Mombasa Island Toastmasters, the first Toastmasters in Mombasa. We set it up. So, moving on. You survived teenagehood. You survived, you went to UK. You studied what?
I did management and system science, which is essentially, in common man terms, it's in industrial management. At
that point, did your family have the business?
The business was already running in terms of the edible oil processing plant and so on.
Yeah.
But it had just about started. That was about 92, 93.
And then you came from college, came back to Mombasa.
Went into the business and started loading trucks at the factory. So the first
factory
job
another factory. Factory you are.
Yeah. So I was working prior to that in the UK.
Okay. Of course, you had to work as you were in college.
Yes. So we worked for 3 years. I worked for 3 years in London. So I did a waiter's job at a restaurant in.
How was that?
It was amazing. I learned how to balance 18 plates
you can do that
in one hand. Yeah. So to date I practice that at home now. But yeah, that was fun. And then I went on to work at a multi-chain outlet called the Marks and Spencers.
Oh, Marks and Spencer, the clothing company.
Yeah, clothing and supermarket outlets. So I did shelf stocking and then eventually went on to become a cashier. So I started touching money and feeling money.
Yeah, important, very important.
Yeah, and then I fell in love with money. So to date, my biggest passion in life, and I tell all my colleagues in Pwani, the one thing that I love is money.
Really?
Yes. Wow. Not because I want to earn it, but because I want to make a legacy or create a legacy around what I was and what I want to be remembered as. Somebody who loves money.
And okay, you want to be remembered as someone who loves money.
Loves money. And the reasons behind that is the legacy.
The legacy.
The hunt for money makes you become very creative, very out of the box kind of thinking.
So you came back, joined your family.
Yes, company. as a loading supervisor. The foreman was my first title. And then my craftsmanship ended up pushing me into learning the production process, mending pumps and motors and coupling them together and finding alignment and listening to the sounds of how a pump runs and understanding that this pump bearings have a problem. So I learned that, and after production and understanding the process, I started innovating on the process. So the plant that we had at the time did 100 tons a day.
100 tons
of palm oil refining a day. And so I engineered the process without capital investment to be able to run 150 tons a day.
How did you? So you managed to push your processing plant shortcut without spending any extra money to be able to give you 150 from 100, like a 50% increase. Let me ask you something, and I don't want to sound biased. Wahindi, do they steer their kids in a certain path? Because I have met many parents in the kind of system where we go to, and sometimes you find they finish year 11 or year 13, they go out of the country, or even the ones in the A44 system, and then they're after Form 4, or after they're kind of in limbo. But you don't find that with you guys. Is it that there is a path set out for your children that we may discuss in another, and you didn't call us to that meeting? Because I find that they just have a not easy path, but a carved out path.
No, I think you make it sound like it's premeditated, but it's not.
That's what I'm curious about.
No, it's not premeditated at all. I think the way it works, in as far as my own personal way I was brought up and the way I bring my children up, is you've got to understand what their passion is, understand what they really enjoy, what makes them tick, and then help them identify that path for themselves, and then go out and practice it. So get internships to confirm that that's really what you want to do, and then set your career path from there to be able to achieve that professionally.
You didn't
so you start identifying from an early age what your kid really enjoys doing. So as an example, my 10-year-old daughter is somebody who loves makeup, and she would do makeup on my sisters and my wife and so on for fun, not for an occasion, and she does a good job about it. So we've identified that that's her passion. And that's the direction that the courses that we will look for, and the opportunities in terms of learning, etc., that we will look for her to join and confirm that that's what she wants to do.
So direction.
We are probably more invested in the kids' need and understanding.
More invested in that.
Yes. As compared to others. And because parents tend to live their own personalized lives.
And they
not really interested in knowing what the kids are.
Now you've answered 100%. I'll take that home with me, because like you invest time, you invest money. That's what. By the time I went to Osho Academy, it's not a cheap school, but it's because I want that kind of investing in the child in terms of time and everything else, and hopefully.
But it doesn't come from the school.
I know.
It comes from the parents.
But do you see what you got in Mombasa? Mombasa Primary. That's what I want for my child also. Like that multi. You said you have a 10-year-old girl. So it means you're married.
Yes.
And have other kids, or it's just that one?
No, I have 2 kids. I have an elder boy who's just finished his O levels. He's 17 now, and he's getting into his A levels now. So he did. This year, 2020, is a year to be forgotten for many.
I know.
So he didn't sit his final exams. He went through the tests and so on that the school had done over the year.
Yeah.
And then he was supposed to sit the Cambridge board in terms of his O-level final exams. So the Cambridge board have now adjudicated in terms of the grades that he's got. So he's done extremely well. He's got 4 A stars, 5 A's.
Wow.
So he's a complete opposite to what I am, or I was.
Yeah,
in my days in school. So yeah, he's the studious kind. I'm not. He's the techie kind. The Generation Z typically.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so he understands a mobile phone that can do a lot more than call and
what we can
WhatsApp, which I use it for primarily, but he uses it for a lot more.
I forgot to ask you something. Was your marriage arranged?
No, it wasn't. I was fortunate to have met my wife at a friend's wedding.
While in the UK?
No, here in Mombasa.
Okay.
And so we got together whilst the marriage was, our Indian marriages are a week long. So there was a week of seeing each other. And then post that we started meeting, and eventually
so you were
in
friends?
a year. Yes, in a year we got married.
That's cool. What other advice as a parent would you tell other parents out there about parenting?
I think let your kids be.
Let your kids be.
Absolutely, don't push them. It's not necessary to have 10 A stars. It's not necessary to have first in everything or second or top 3 in everything. I believe these 5 fingers are not the same. Each one is different.
Yeah.
But in each one, there is a talent that nobody else has. It's your job as a parent to find it. And that's where he's going to be first.
Your job as a parent to help that child identify what they are good at.
Because that's where he's going to be first.
Yeah.
And if you really want him to be first, let him be first in what he is made for and not what you think he's made for.
Okay. Sasa tukarudi Kenya. Tukasikiza humming za motors and machines. Then how did you grow up into the company? Did you get favors because you're a Malde? How did you grow into the company?
So I did the operations job for I think about 5 years, from 96, from loading to production operations. Laundry soaps was not something that the business did at the time. So that was my first project, to start a soap manufacturing plant.
So you only did palm oil?
Yes. Cooking oil and cooking fats.
Cooking oil and cooking fat.
Yes.
So what was your brand name then?
The cooking oil brand was Popco, and the cooking fat brand was Frymate.
Frymate?
Yes.
But you are not going to Mpishipoa?
No, Mpishipoa had not been born at the time.
Okay, so you came on board.
Yes. So started soap. Dume bar soap was our first laundry bar. And then from there moved on from operations and production, having understood practically everything. Hired an operations or factory manager, and then started venturing out to be able to sell the product, having understood it technically.
Yes.
What matters to the consumer is what I needed to understand.
Yes.
And so I got on to finding distributors countrywide, listening to them.
At that point, you became
I was still a salesman. I didn't become anything yet.
Yeah.
Yes. So I had a Toyota DX.
the old school.
The box.
Yes, I know it.
So that's the vehicle that I used to do country sales trips.
And you went into the country, because I remember my first encounter with Pwani is pale Jomvu. Unapita, there's a smell ya mafuta. And then when they came to mind, I didn't know them during Popo, but Mpishipoa, when it came on board. So I've really kind of followed the trail.
So Mpishipoa was actually born in 2004. It was a byproduct of the sales trips that I did. It was an outcome from there to understand what the consumer really wanted.
So when you went out to be now salesman, you studied the market.
Yes, so I was speaking, at the time I wasn't speaking to consumers or retailers. I was speaking to wholesalers, distributors, and understanding how they're selling and why a product sells the way it does. And from there, put two and two together and try and formulate and change formulation of a product and get it right and get it out there in the market. So up to about 2003, 2004, we were almost like commodity traders. Whilst we were manufacturing, we were also trading. So we were making and selling at best possible price, and that was the objective at the time.
Just to produce and sell.
Yes.
No drama.
No, nothing.
At that point, you're very humble beginning. Yani utaki mambo mingi.
Yes.
Aha.
So that time, the business did about 1,000 tons a whole month, and then started understanding the market, creating new products. So Fresh Fry was born as a brand, which was a thinner oil, doesn't solidify in colder climates, etc., etc. And that started getting into the market very strongly.
Very, very, very strongly. Underline that.
And then it went through a change. So the business focus changed from about 2006, 2007, from trading mentality or commodity trading to really understanding route to market and distribution, understanding consumer needs and formulating changes into the products and bringing new products to market, answering those specific needs, which led to the 2010 launch of Fresh Fry with a non-drip spout.
It pours really well.
That's right. So those were the changes that started coming in terms of innovation from product formulation to packaging formulation or changes, innovations. To a large extent, the new soaps that we brought to the market.
Like sour?
Sour soap, Diva soap,
yes, I like
Diva glycerin. All those were born out of understanding that consumer that we wanted to serve.
So in other words, you brought about growth in the company.
Yes.
Let me shelve that and ask you, did it bring any conflict or you were accepted
I had conflict all my life. I have conflict even today.
Okay.
So the conflict is always about whether I'm making the right decision in understanding or identifying that consumer need and whether that would work because it requires some kind of investment and what's the return on investment, etc. So in the early years, the sizes of investments and changes and risks that I was taking was much smaller. Now as we've grown, we need to be betting bigger because we want to be continuing to trend in the innovation space and continuing to trend in the consumer need space. And as we continue doing that, because we've improved from where we were to now, the next big improvement is a big investment. And so the conflicts are bigger today.
How do you solve that as a family?
The family would be convinced with science.
So the family would be convinced with science. Okay.
So you got to take the scientific route now. In the early years, research may not be that necessary. The size of bet was smaller. The cost of research was a lot more. So it didn't make sense. Today, the cost of bet or size of bet is much bigger.
Huge,
So you want to invest in research. You want to confirm that you've understood the concept, do a concept test, concept study, prototyping, packaging design, etc., etc., before you actually say, yeah, this is the answer. And then now
did they take time for your family to trust you to run?
Initially, yes. But after getting 2 or 3 small bets right, it was easier. So today it's not as difficult, but when it comes to big investments, then for sure we need to back it up.
What were the challenges?
I think if you talk about challenges, I think challenges are what you build yourself. You create challenges within yourself if you think that there is a problem. The way I'd like to think is there isn't a problem, there is only a solution.
Yes.
So I'm very solution driven. A lot of people within the business call me a doctor. So when they have an issue, they'd come to me and they know that they will find the answer.
Sometimes employees are not loyal, they don't show up, especially kwa factory. Mtu anaamka asubuhi, aski kwenda kazi, and ama mwisho wa mwezi, 3 people don't show up because they got money, they got excited. Was that a challenge for you?
Not really, no, to be honest. Why? Because I think you can only keep an employee if he wants to be there and he's happy to be there.
Yeah.
The day he's not happy to be there, he'll go away. And you've got to understand that he wasn't happy doing it, and you've got to find a replacement who's happy to do it. So yes, there were people who went away.
Yeah.
But for me, that tells me that whatever I'm offering or the kind of job that he was doing wasn't for him.
Were you getting challenges with the machine, like this has broken down,
Yes.
tomorrow something else has broken
Absolutely.
down, just when you thought another motor, and then you have to come and diagnose,
Yes.
get a fundi, because you're probably not. How was that? I'm very fascinated in manufacturing, that's why I'm asking.
So those are very interesting questions. So I've spent 48 hours in a trot at the plant without going home to sleep or take a shower. And those have been some of the challenges that I've dealt with. So yeah, every challenge, as I said, every breakdown is a learning. So how doesn't it break down again? How do you troubleshoot to find the fault to start with?
Yes.
And then be able to fix it, and then make sure that you're checking that particular telltale sign every time you go forward, so that it doesn't break down again.
Yeah.
Those challenges were there,
Especially from in the beginning, when you don't have very
the beauty about breakdowns and challenges and machinery in general is you've got to treat them like people.
Tell me.
So the people that I had, the maintenance people that we recruited, whilst I was learning the process, I was finding the right kind of people that I needed to maintain it and fix it if it broke down. Those people learned on the job. There was no ready-made fundi out there who could understand the machine. But so what I was looking for...
So it's a trial and error, even for those people.
Yeah, so what I was looking for in terms of recruitment, and you asked that question of finding the right people, in terms of recruitment, what you're looking for is somebody who's going to be able to fault find and troubleshoot rather than know it all. That guy who knows it all is probably the most useless that you've recruited.
Okay.
So does the person have that ability to find a solution in the right manner?
You had the challenges of like getting trusted because you were just a fresher, you just came the other day. But from what I'm getting, you really pulled up your and ulifanya a job paka ukagrow. How does it feel from there to having kugonga hivi to having state of the art?
Very frustrating.
Machinery. Really?
Very frustrating.
You want that?
No. What I want is a solution to a breakdown like yesterday. I've been there, I've done that. I know. So today I'm not there, I'm not doing it. I know there's somebody else doing it, but the speed at which he does it is not exactly the same as the speed at which I would have done it.
Oh, goodness.
That's the frustration.
You have you don't want to let go, like letting go of control.
No, it's not about control. I don't control operations. I handle sales and marketing now. I handle the business growth and development now. So operations is not my baby. But when there is a breakdown, it affects me because my customer is not being served.
And you're not happy.
And I'm not happy, and I want to know what the hell is wrong.
Yes, you want it done now, and therefore, if you're not the one doing it, you don't understand why it's not happening fast enough, and you want it to happen fast enough.
Exactly.
So how is it now on the other side?
We're doing okay. We're creating new things. We are building new things.
I saw the other day. Pwani kapata ushindi.
Yes.
Hey, that was daring. You know how long ushindi has been around, and for you to just go and buy them, acquire them like that, I thought, not bad.
Yeah, so I mean, again, it's in line with answering consumer needs. It's understanding, again, the consumer's need. So we had a choice. We knew that consumer need was there. We had a choice.
What was so attractive about that?
It answers a specific consumer need, the baby consumer.
Okay, let me ask you I told you I'm a small manufacturer. What would make you not start your own Ushindi? Why wouldn't you start like though you started Diva? Just tell me, why would you choose this over
So let me give you a background of the Fresh Fry story. Fresh Fry was born in, as I said, 2003, 2004. And then the first big innovation came in 2010 with the non-drip spout and the measuring cap and so on.
Yes.
It has taken us from 2010 to about 2018 for that brand to become #1 in Kenya. It took us 8 years to build that brand.
Okay.
Right. So we could have gone down that journey and created a brand.
Yeah.
It would have taken us that much longer.
Yeah, or you could just...
Or the other alternative, which is what we did, opposed to buy something ready-made and continue to serve that consumer.
And it's actually a good product.
And we see opportunity in improving it further and bringing in a wider range of the brand variants in the dishwashing paste and the dishwash liquids and so on. And I think that we can innovate further.
I think so.
In that space.
So too. What is your idea of success? Because you can be defined as a highly successful individual. What is your...
I think if you look at how or why companies create good things but are not successful, I break that down to three things. First and most important is the product or service or whatever it is that you want to do, is that something that your customer or consumer wants, right? The second is be clear about who your target market is. So you can't have one fitting all. It just doesn't happen. So you've got to be clear what's your specific target market and have your product accustomed to that specific target market. And therefore your communication, your marketing, etc.
It's targeting.
It's all targeting towards that one specific consumer. And any overlap is good luck to you. But your focus must be your target. And what companies generally tend to do is create something because they can without understanding the consumer's need and then push it down consumers' throats. The day a new guy wakes up and identifies the gap, your history.
Your history.
And then the third important thing is distribute it evenly and efficiently so that whilst you communicate and make the noise about the brand, it must be available.
Oh yes.
Don't communicate to empty shelves. Don't make noise to empty shelves.
People a lot.
Right? So if you don't have the product available, make it available before you spend money on communicating it.
Okay. Is that also your secret for the growth you have experienced as Pwani?
I would say yes, completely.
Okay. So when you were not a Pwani commercial director, what are you?
So outside of office, I'm a dad. I'm a volleyball player.
You still do?
I play volleyball on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evenings. And I'm a TV buff. I love watching Premier League football and the Champions League. And so every time, weekends in particular, when there's a game, that's me in front of the TV. I think those are the things that really keep me occupied outside of office. Yeah, I mean, that's about it. So when I take my family shopping, I don't particularly enjoy shopping. So what I tend to do is stand in front of the soaps category or the oils category and watch consumers
come and pick, like just watch what the behavior of the consumer
and have conversations with those who are not picking our brands to understand why. And then so that's for me is a learning session. So it's family time in the supermarket, but then learning at the same time for the business.
What time do you wake up? Like, how is your day like?
So it varies. Tuesdays and Fridays, it's 6 to 7 yoga in the morning. So waking up is 5:30. So I actually have a trainer that comes home and makes me do yoga. Otherwise, I'm a very lazy morning person. I'm a night person rather than a morning person. So Saturdays at 8 o'clock start. Rest of the weekdays, it's depending on what day it is. It's between 7 and 8.
Yeah. Do you travel a lot because of your work?
I used to at least 1 week every month. Out of Mombasa. Now because of Corona and technology coming in, I tend to use a lot more of the Zooms and the Teams and the Google Meets.
So you don't travel as much?
As much, yeah.
But I am trying to visualize your plate. It must be quite full to be able to run the company and all the things you have done and all the things you plan to do and all the things that you think will work out. How do you remain sane?
So you focus on your big ticket items on a regular basis, daily basis, and the smaller ticket items on a weekly basis. And there's one thing that I do. I eat my frogs in the morning. So eating my frogs in the morning, the things I hate doing, but I have to do, I do them first thing in the morning.
And the rest of the time you can do your sales.
Then the rest of the time is doing things that I enjoy doing,
Yeah.
and so the day passes well.
How do you remain in harmony? Because I know that you cannot get much accomplished if your head is in a clutter. You have to have harmony and balance. How do you get it?
So take a step back. Every feeling of frustration you get, whilst in it, take a step back. Understand the objectives of what it is that you want to achieve, and then go back and focus on the big things first. And leave the small things alone.
Yeah.
And in the process, you'll miss some for sure, but then you'll not miss the big ones.
With your kind of success, do you feel successful?
No, I think there's a lot more to do still.
What do you feel like you're not there yet, or what do you feel?
So as I said right at the beginning, I love money. So this is human behavior, right?
Yeah.
So every time you earn more, your lifestyle changes, your cost of living changes, and you want more.
Of course.
So there's never enough.
Yeah.
So there's never a point in time where you feel that I've now achieved because you're running after that next thing. So driving from my Toyota DX as my first job car to a Toyota Prado today, I've moved on. But then I'm now visualizing my next big thing. What is it going to be? I don't know, maybe a Toyota VX.
So what next for Pwani?
There's a lot to do and to think about. So Ushindi is the most recent acquisition.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to do
in terms of
reformulating, bringing out the variants in the Ushindi brand, the dishwash paste, the dishwash liquid, liquid detergents, detergent powders, etc. The products in the market as they were needed a bit more work in terms of answering the consumer need. So that's the work that we need to do immediately.
Somebody, why would they choose Sunlight, not Ushindi?
So the reason to buy, reason to buy is understanding what the consumer wants, and then give that reason to buy.
True.
So it's about making it happen now. And then outside of that, we've got our own research and development, new product development going on. So we've launched right in the thick of COVID in March or February of this year. We launched an extension to fresh fry and fresh fry garlic. So it's fresh fry with garlic oil in it. So it's heart friendly. Garlic, as we know, supports heart health.
Yeah.
So there's more extensions on fresh fry coming. There's more extensions on our sour soap coming. We want to enter the skincare category, and we want to enter the hair care category. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. I was talking to my PA the other day when I was driving back from the factory last week, I think, and I was saying, find me a salon that I'm going to go and sit with a hairdresser and understand the Kenyan hair. Because my hair is not exactly difficult to deal with, but the African hair is. And I need to learn it before I go and make products for it. And so those are the challenges I want to
So you're really interested in solving that problem? Because the guys who are there, personally I find them a little commercial.
Yes.
Not interested in solving the problem, just giving you balm, like you pack on your hair.
Yes.
And
so I was actually completely surprised to understand that there's things like hair food, and relaxers and straighteners, and I was shocked to hear that a salon charges, I don't know, 400 shillings to get into the hair dryer with those stupid plastic things called curlers. And I said, really?
Yeah.
There are simpler solutions, much cheaper, that we can get in doing this. So what is it that I can solve? Where can I save my consumer money and provide value? Questions to get the right answers. In those answers lies a gem of an idea.
I'm telling you, it's amazing. What advice would you give to teenagers, for example?
Follow your dream, identify it, most importantly. Test it, confirm that is your dream, and then follow it with all your heart. So if you want to become a doctor, go into a hospital, do an internship. Confirm that you can see blood.
That you can,
and handle blood, for example. a lot of teenagers don't know to a large extent what it is that makes them excited, makes them happy.
A lot.
And in the employment world, we have tended to say that the Generation Z are very different from our generation in terms of employment. I don't think so. I think we haven't really found the thing that flares them.
Yeah.
And that's the trick.
Oh, it's like we expect them to like what we liked. We expect them to do the same, which is not possible.
Exactly.
And generation after generation has to be different, because what your parents were is not what you are today, and it's not what you.
I mean, in my house is a classic example. I in my entertainment in school was physical activity and going out to the sports center and playing. Whereas in today's world, my son's physical activity is nothing more than cycling around the compound, for example. The rest of the time is PlayStation and
so
Nintendo.
I should stop giving my child grief over
completely. Let him be. Let him be.
Thank you for that. And by the way, how well do you know Kenyan stuff, like Kenyan musicians, Kenyan food?
Okay, so to be honest, I don't know much about the Kenyan music scene, except a few names. I know about Susumila.
Hey!
And I know about Masauti.
Those are Mombasa products.
Sauti Souls, I used to listen to them at the White Sands when I was a teenager. Nyotandogo.
That's
Ochile Brown.
Ochile Brown, those are people from
a few of those. But I'm more an Hindi music, Indian music fanatic.
Okay.
I sing.
Sing?
In the bathroom.
Okay. I was gonna buy a ticket to your concert.
No, I try to sing in the bathroom, and then my daughter hates me because every morning when I'm getting ready to come to work, and because they're on holidays right now and doesn't want to be disturbed, and I'm singing on top of my voice.
You do sing on top of your voice?
Yes, in my bedroom, in my bathroom, and she hates me for that. But yeah, I try to.
I'm interested in the Indian culture. I have eaten in almost all Indian restaurants in Mombasa, but more so I am I am totally captivated by the ancient way, because I also know, why would someone sing to a snake and it so it got me interested in philosophy and stuff like that. So whatever you're learning, you sambaza to me the yoga, but it's
so yoga is actually not a philosophy or a religion. Yoga is actually a way of life. It's about breathing. And the belief behind breathing, the science behind breathing, is that the more oxygen content you carry in your blood, the quicker repair you do of your body cells.
Yes.
And that's the science behind it. So there's various different types of yoga. Over the years, it has developed into a money-making business. But the traditional yoga is what you call a physical exercise with breathing. So whilst you're stretching yourself and breathing heavily, you're putting in oxygen in the places where you're stretching, so you become more flexible.
Okay, thank you so much. You're really kind, and I was looking forward to this interview that is made possible by some of our sponsors, and I'm really praying that Pwani can sponsor us. For example, first, the location is Pwani Oil. We are very grateful for hosting us. And the person who does my hair, Waridi Fashions, she does a great job.
Hold on. So this person who does your makeup, where's the salon? Because I'm looking for a salon to go and learn hair.
We will give you the details, exactly where and their number, so that you can actually, when you do your products, they can probably
before I do the products, I need to learn the product that I need to make.
Yes. And the outfits, they're always by Amalia Baroque, a lady called Riata da Costa. I don't know if your wife wears such, but she has very, very, very good pieces. Also, Patience Awache, she does my makeup. And we're hoping that Pwani Oil can come on board together. They can, together with Talanta Kenya, who are our producers, in conjunction with Double Pearl Productions. Yeah, so please come on board. Thank you.
We will talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking your time to listen.
Karibu.